Let's start by cleaning up our main.dart file. I'm going to first remove these comments here. And then we can remove the entire My Homepage widget. Let's rename our material app to Flutter Instagram. We can remove the debug banner by setting debug show checked mode banner to false. For our theme data, we'll keep the primary swatch as colors.blue. We'll set the scaffold background color to colors.gray, 50. And then since we're going to be using app bars a lot in our app, we can set the app bar theme to app bar theme. Brightness we'll set to brightness.light. And that means the status bar will be black. The color of our app bar will be colors.white. Our app bar's icons will be black, and we can do that by setting icon theme to const icon theme data color colors.black. And then because our app bar color is white, we want the title text to be black. So we can do text theme, const text theme. And then headline 6 is our title. We can set the text style to colors.black. The font size should stay the same as the default font size, which is 20.0. And then the font weight will be font weight bold. And since we're going to be using named routes, we don't need this home parameter. Now in order to use name routes, we need to have a function called onGenerateRoute, and we also need to specify the initial route. Because we're going to have some complex navigation in this app, we should make a separate file inside of a config folder called customrouter.dart. CustomRouter is a class, and we're going to have a static function that returns a route called onGenerateRoute. And onGenerateRoute takes in something called route settings, and we need to import material.dart for that. Settings. And if we look into what route settings actually is, we can see that it has a name and arguments. What this means is that we're going to be taking the name that's passed in through our route settings, check if there's an existing route, and then navigate to that route. If there's no existing route, then we'll display an error route. So let's set up our switch statement, switch settings.name, and the first route we should take care of is the root. So in the event the route is a slash, then we want to return a material page route with the builder const scaffold. And we can set the settings of our material page route, const route settings, name, slash. And the reason for specifying the route settings of our material page route is so when we look at our analytics, we can actually see what page the user goes to. Now let's make our default case, which would be the error route. So let's return error route. And now underneath this method, let's make static route error route. And this is private because we're not going to be accessing error route outside of our custom router. Return material page route. Settings, const route settings. Set the name to /error. Builder, and we don't need the context, so we can put an underscore. Scaffold, app bar title, const text error, and the body will be const center with child text, something went wrong. Let's save this file, go back to main.dart, and here we can just write custom router and import the custom router file .onGenerateRoute. And the reason we don't pass in settings right here is because onGenerateRoute already has settings passed in. So we don't actually need to specify these settings. It'll be passed in automatically because onGenerateRoute gives us settings, which is the same parameter name as our onGenerateRoute function. For the initial route, let's just set it to the root. Hit save, and you're going to see an error here, so make sure you hot restart the app. And now our root screen appeared. In order to see what routes are passed in to onGenerateRoute, let's go to route settings, and here let's print route settings.name. Let's open up the console, hot restart the app, and we see we have the slash. And so onGenerateRoute takes in the settings. Settings.name is the first case, and then we return a material page route, which gives us the scaffold. If we go back to main.dart and change the initial route to /a, and then hot restart the app again, we see we get the error route. And so again, the route starts off as slash, so it returns the material page route, then /a is the default route, because we don't have a case for /a, and then we show the error route. And the app bar title is looking a little thick, so we can change the font weight down to font weight W600. And now let's add in our splash screen. Let's change the initial route back to slash. And we're going to create a new folder inside of our lib directory called screens. And screens will have a barrel file called screens.dart. And a barrel file is just a file that exports multiple files. The reason for this is so when we have a bunch of screens inside of our screens directory, and let's say inside of our custom router, we need to be importing these screens, all we have to do is import the barrel file by doing import package flutter Instagram screens, screens.dart. And because screens.dart will be exporting all of these screens inside of our screens folder, we don't need to create a bunch of individual imports. All we have to do is import one file. And so this saves a lot of time and removes the need for a bunch of individual imports. Now in screens, let's make a folder called splash. And here we'll make a file called splash screen.dart. Splash screen will be a stateless widget called splash screen. And we can import material. And our splash screen will be const scaffold body center child circular progress indicator. Let's save this. Go to screens.dart and remember to export splash screen.dart. Now inside custom router, we need to have a case for our splash screen. To do this, we could do something like case/splash, and then we can return another material page route and do something similar to this. But because we don't want to keep repeating ourselves by having to write material page route all the time, we can actually write the routing logic inside of our splash screen. So let's write static const string route name, and we'll set this to splash. And then we'll write a route function that returns a route. Return material page route. Settings const route settings. Name route name. The builder, we don't use the context, so we can put an underscore. And then we return the splash screen. And that's it. So back in custom router, instead of specifying /splash, we can do splash screen dot route name and return splash screen dot route. Now if we save this, go back to main.dart and change the initial route to splash screen dot route name and import screens.dart. Let's hit save, hot restart the app, and then we see the route starts off as a slash and then goes to our splash screen. And the last thing we need to do is prevent users from sliding the screen. So on iOS you can slide to the right, on Android you can click the back button in the toolbar at the bottom. To do this, all we have to do is wrap our scaffold in will pop scope and set on will pop to a future boolean, so async false. And so this just restricts the user ability to pop the screen. And so now we're not able to pop the screen by sliding or hitting the back button. It's important to add this in because we don't want our user to accidentally click the back button and go back to this empty material page route here.